What is good, guys? Welcome to another episode of The
Creator
Show. My name is Nico, and I am your host for today. Joining us, we have
Marketing man.
Marketing Man. How are you, bro?
Doing good.
Yeah, good.
Yes.
Thank you for joining us. And then to the right, we have Nash. How are you, Nasha?
I'm good, thank you
Yeah.
very much.
Good.
Yes.
And across over there, we have Master Sri Akarshana. Thank
Namaste,
you
everybody.
all for joining us. I have a question, Master.
Yes.
This is I think a lot of the woo-woo people may have a question, may have some interest regarding this numerology. Is this something you've ever looked into, got any info or knowledge about?
It's too complicated.
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, because it's everything. The whole of the world is written in code. So
abundance codes.
So there's so many different combinations,
Yeah.
and everything is a sign.
Uh-huh.
So, and it's so detailed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, let's say, even if you see people just say, "Oh yeah, 111 is either a warning or it's a blessing. Something's good coming your way." Which obviously is either
It's
a warning
one or
or
the
a
other,
blessing,
yeah.
right? So, and if you Google any of them, it'll always say the same two.
Mm-hmm.
It could be a warning or it could be a blessing
Mm-hmm.
with regards to a certain thing, which is true,
Mm-hmm.
obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But then the time in which you see it,
The state you're in when you
the
see
state you're in, what is it? What is your goal at that moment? For example,
it.
what is it your goal at the moment?
Mm-hmm.
Depending on that goal, then it's guidance for that particular thing. So what's out in public is too generic,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess people can take a pick and see if it makes sense for them, and for some people it will,
Yeah.
and for some people it won't.
Yeah.
Just like if you were to close your eyes and say, somebody in the world will be watching this and eating right now. And then the people eating will be, oh my God, that's so true. How did you know? And then the other people will be like, no, it wasn't true. So
There's a lot to interpret.
so much probability. So when obviously if you speak about it in a broad way, then everybody will, well, you got 50% of the population which will say, oh my God, it's true. But in reality, it's so complicated. I cannot say that I know it all, or no, it's too much.
There's parts of numerology which obviously there's a complex aspect that you've explained. But I don't know, have any of you guys ever worked out your number based on your date of birth?
Why do
or
you
your
want to ask this question in the first place?
Why?
Yeah.
I thought it'd be an interesting thing to talk about.
No, I just thought like.
I feel
no,
attacked.
I'm just thinking
just
like,
wanted a topic.
what makes you suddenly having this question?
Because I've
what
been-
happened to you in life?
What happened to you?
Yes.
What happened to
I
you?
got hit
think
by a
everyone
car
would
and then I
be
thought,
Interested in.
something that I have some interest in. There's a numerology YouTube channel which I follow, and of course these readings are very open to interpretation. And I was just curious to see if any of you guys, this is anything that you've had any interest or found any relatability to or have any knowledge in.
I think it's kind of fun whenever it happens, you know. Like the other day I went to Sainsbury's. So Sainsbury's, I'm on the Nectar card system, and every month they give me coupons from my shopping. So I got this coupon that says that I need to spend over £50 in order to get X amount of money off. So I was like, okay, let me shop until I get £50. I got to the till, and I was about 50p short from £50. So I was like, oh, okay, is it okay if I can, there's me talking to the cashier. I was like, is it okay if I can just grab like a pack of gum or something like that, just to, make up the 50? And she was like, yeah, just take something from the shelf. So I just grabbed without looking at a pack of gum. After the coupon applied the discount, the number 4444 came out.
Wow.
I was like, out of everything I picked up at that certain time, how did that number come about? So whenever I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, like, what does that mean? So you
Yeah.
just Google 4444, and then, you know,
And then-
it just gave out its reading. I was like, cool, nice to know.
Nice.
So
But
stuff
you
like
know,
that happens,
4
it's
is
like,
a bad luck for Chinese.
well, it's good that I'm not Chinese.
So it's also about cultures, right?
Yeah.
Because like fortune telling in Chinese, like we have over like 5,000 years of culture about reading the star and everything. It's actually really accurate. It's based on where and what time you were born, and they can
Sure.
tell your
Profile,
life.
I guess. Yeah.
And the good one, they can really tell.
Yeah.
Like our life is pre-programmed. So I think, and people are always, you know, in Chinese, when we say 168, meaning you will have fortune all the way. So it's all about numbers. So it's different cultures. 7 is good luck for the for Western culture, and number 13 is bad luck for Western culture.
Yeah, for sure.
And 333, 666. For some culture it's good, for some culture they're bad. Means devil. So
Yeah.
Well, straight after that, after 444 occurrence, I looked at my app
You got
to see how many
666.
points I got. I got 777.
Way, you're aligned.
Straight away, it was like 444, and then just open up app 777. I was like, wow,
Very aligned.
how does that happen?
do you buy a lottery?
It means something terrible is going to happen. Then you're going to come out of it. I think we can't put too much attention to these.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's what people say, like the chicken and egg thing, isn't it? So you believe that 13 is bad, Friday the 13th especially,
Then it's what
then
you-
it's bad,
yeah.
then you question or you confirm. Do you confirm and say, I knew it was going to be that way? Or is it because you created it because you knew it was that way? I find that where when I was growing up, because obviously very superstitious, just like what Nash is saying there, all the different numbers and everything like that. And I find that it affected a lot. And I find that it also affects my family a lot. My dad's a big believer in this, mum's a big believer in it. And it affects every single time. Oh, I just seen this. This means that. And then something bad happens. And it's like, you see, I knew it. And watching that through growing up. And then I think there's a point where I just decided to change my belief system around certain things. And I find that it has changed. It has changed the way what happens.
In what way?
Meaning that
I guess you've attached a different
Like-
energy to associations.
yeah. I mean, like, if I give the example of what I mean, it's like what we teach when we say NLP and cognitive reframing, with what Nash was saying in terms of 4. You say 4 is bad luck because 4 sounds a little bit like death in Chinese, and that's
What,
why
the word?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what would the
Yeah.
words be?
4 and 4 is 4.
Say the two again.
So death is 4.
Yeah.
4. And then 4 is 4.
So okay, so you got the and then you got the straight one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
And then I remember one time I was in China, and then I can't remember what it was. This was about 10, 15 years ago, and I seen something that was like 4 something, or maybe it was like a hotel room or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but anyway. And I said, oh no, I got number 4. And then my friend said to me, oh, 4 is very good. 他说事事如意 or something, is it? How do you say it?
right.
Yes.
事事如意.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which means everything's very
Another way
pleasant.
to interpret.
Everything's
Flowing.
very
Flowing, yeah.
Yeah.
flowing. Yeah, beautiful. Yeah. So then I was like, oh, okay. And from that moment on, actually, whenever I see 4s, it just shifted.
Yeah, for sure.
I just feel like, oh, everything's flowing, everything's great.
Nice.
And since that, then, yeah, when anything's related to 4, I just feel zero affected by it, you know.
For sure.
So I think it's always going to be that thing of
Yeah.
but at the same time there is what Nash was saying about the destiny code,
Yeah.
the birth chart,
Sure.
八字, all of this calculation your time of birth, when you or everything,
Place of birth,
and then what
yeah,
happens
everything,
in
yeah.
your life.
2 numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how, and this is more, I'm trying to, a question on, from the perspective of the viewer, like how malleable and flexible is your birth chart? Because a lot of people might think, okay, my destiny is set in stone. I am
Yeah.
set for that. I am doomed, or I am blessed. Or how much do we have of a power over our path?
Yeah. I think we say, can anybody be free spirit? No. It's like you can't go naked right now on the show.
You're challenging me. Close your eyes, kids.
We can't go out just to kill someone, for example, right? So you're not really that free of a spirit. You can be free spirit within the system. That's how everything is. Like you want to be living in freedom. It'll never be fully free. It's free according to the rules of the game that you're playing. So birth chart works in exactly the same way. So meaning destiny, there is that set destiny for you. But what would be the point in them just reading out your chart? Actually, they don't just read out your chart. They read out your chart and say, in May, be careful of this thing. Stay away from these things. Right? In September, stay away from these things. So what does that mean? It means if you do, then you may not be affected by those energies
There's still a point
in that
of
way.
option.
So
Yeah.
is there a different outcome? Of course there is.
Yeah.
Right? One could, you fall down and really hurt yourself, and one is just a little scratch on your arm. You get what I'm saying? So there is change, there is flexibility, there's control within the game, how the game has been
framework,
set.
I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the deal with 108, 108? That seems to be a number that, although numerology is highly interpretable, that seems to have quite a fixed importance, especially in Himalayan culture and spirituality.
It actually came from yogic practice, yogi. One very powerful divine spirit was practicing every day 108. 108 chants, 108, always 108, 108 sun salutations, 108. So the power was held by that divine energy. Divine energy passed, the power is there, then everybody else who's practicing it is practicing with that power. So this is
something this knowledge was passed on from Grandmaster to you?
So this thing is like, we are creating new energies. You can create a superstition. How true would that superstition be? Depends on how powerful you are.
Sure, how much energy you put into it.
Yeah, and how powerful you become as a spirit.
Yeah.
So you can say, okay, whenever you drink, as long as you hold it with these 2 fingers, right? Then you'll become very powerful. And then if you pass that message on and everybody Kia starts doing it, Hassan starts doing it, then you've got a small tribe, it'll hold a little bit of power. Someone outside using it it might not work, you know? But if you get 1,000 people, 10,000 people doing it, or 1 million people doing it, or 1 billion people doing it, then it holds real power.
Yeah, that's interesting, because I remember when I got, when you gave me a Rudraksha necklace, I was curious, I wanted to know, is there a science behind it? And because we're led to believe, or we might like to think that a certain seed might have a certain power. But if I remember rightly, what you said is that the belief is held so strongly by millions of people that association has been attached to it, which therefore creates that ball of energy and therefore asserts its effect.
Yeah, and I think some people will listen to that and think, oh, well, that means that these things don't really hold energy, and it's just that people believe it. Actually, no. When people believe it, belief is an energy.
Absolutely.
When loads of people believe it, the energy becomes real. So you cannot deny and say, oh, it's just a superstition, actually. That superstition is affecting millions of lives. You tell me if it holds power and it's powerful or has energy at all. Of course it does. So these are how a lot of powers are created, like that. Yeah. And then when one spirit, even as human form, one spirit becomes very powerful, so powerful in their lifetime, they are impacting millions and billions of people on the planet. When they pass, that energy is then, some people could even resemble God energy. So then it will be, that's where prayers or divine energies, and people start praying to this energy, because what is that is so powerful, you know?
Yeah.
So
is that what you is that what happened, I guess, for example, with Shiva, who was an incarnate being, who now we see as a deity and is revered and respected? Would you say that's, obviously we weren't there to tell the story, would you say that's what happened?
it's like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a combination, because they are not, we cannot just say they are God, they are also used by God. When you have
Powerful
God,
vessel.
if we refer to God as all energies combined, then all these are just a little arm, a little piece of it.
Sure.
So they are used also. So we all have God within us, no matter what contribution, zero contribution we feel that we do. We all have God within us. If we grow our powers, we become more God-like. And then God will be able to use us more. So, like that.
Have you been affected by the numbers?
There was, like, years ago when I got into it, and the idea of 1111 is like, oh my God, I'm in alignment. Oh, something amazing is going to happen, or something bad is going to happen. And then I don't want to say it took a wrong turn, but it stopped serving me in a way that you kind of depend on these things, or you look out for things. You think, oh, I've seen that number, so therefore that's going to happen. And in that way, you're kind of tampering with the natural flow of existence. You're putting your own thought-based or like conditioning onto the field of ultimate potentiality. So therefore, instead of letting things unravel naturally, then you kind of mess with the equation. You mess with the recipe. You have an element of expectation.
Yeah. And then what happened?
Nothing ever bad happened, but I was just wasting a lot of time, you go on like numerology channels or this or that, or you start reading articles, and then you're letting these articles or this piece of text or video dictate or have an effect on what is your future. And I think when you have too much attachment to that, which at one point I did, then it kind of just ruins the element of surprise, the element of existence, which is unlimited potentiality in a way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or will you get angry when it doesn't happen the way you thought it's going to happen? No.
No.
Or
A lot of the
upset?
time, like, I'd see that something wouldn't happen, and it's like, so why did I give it so much thought? Like, you focus is on one thing, and then you think, all right, well, I could have used my energy, time, focus on being in the present moment rather than thinking, oh, number said I should get that, so therefore I'm focusing on that to come in the future, and then it doesn't happen. It's nothing bad's ever happened, nothing incredible's ever happened. It's just like your focus goes somewhere other than the present moment, which is the only blessing that we have.
I think, do you find a similar thing in tarot angel cards? Do you find a similar type of thing, in the sense that you can decide that everything I'm gonna read and make sure check in, and then sometimes it's like a little can be a little bit overboard, and why am I depending on these cards? So what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a sense of curiosity whenever someone wants to know what's gonna happen, what's happening, or what has happened through these cards. So in a sense, reading tarot, from my perspective, there comes a understanding that, okay, this is what's gonna happen, but also I need to trust in what the universe has for me.
Mm.
And I think sometimes people forget that, just like what Nico said about just being in the present. It's like, okay, this is out of my control to be able to try to make plans for ahead so that it goes as smooth as possible.
Mm.
But then at the same time, I don't think like for those who, you know, believe in Tao and, you know, see that going through these practices is of their benefit. I'm not saying that it's not beneficial. I'm saying that there needs to be a balance between, okay, I trust in what is to come, but then I'm aware of what is to come as well. So
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a bit of a balance, because sometimes whenever you're deep into a certain thing, sometimes you
You lose
confuse
sense.
yourself.
Get lost in it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So what about not reading numerology and not believing in it, or not reading tarot cards and staying away from it? Like, what about that? Like, where do you feel the benefit is in still? You said because we're talking about striking a balance between the two, right?
Yeah.
So, where do you feel the strength is in keeping those parts there?
Mm.
I think it's just understanding about trust.
Mm.
As long as you have that trust within you, that, you know, like what you said, Master, there's always a God within us. You know, as long as we have that strong belief that whatever action we do or whatever action we take, God is within us. You know?
No, what I mean is, where's the you said, okay, well, sometimes we can look at it, we take some information from it, but then we balance out with also our own intuition and feeling. What I'm saying is, what if we remove that? Which part is lost? Which part is gained by keeping that part?
Sure.
I think it would be like a positive. Like that part is like when I'm not sure, because it's so difficult to have full trust.
It's like the home button on your iPhone.
Yeah.
How do you mean?
Just
You press it and
you
it
just
takes
go
you
home.
Yeah.
You feel like it's like reset. It's like I have a rose quartz.
Yeah.
And I know I have the power.
Yeah.
And when times get a certain way,
Yeah. You go
then
recharge.
okay,
Yeah, for sure.
I have the rose quartz.
Yeah.
Although deep down inside I do know I have the power, but because I also know there's some power in that thing, then there's some going home. Oh, I'm safe.
Yeah.
Is that connecting?
Yeah, for sure. For me, there's like back to the cards thing. It was because I've messed around. I've had interest in angel cards, different kinds of cards. There have been times where I've turned to them in really difficult times, and because of the human interpretation that we give, it's given me that clarity that I wouldn't have been able to guide myself towards or be guided to.
So it give you a direction.
It's just
when
like
you're-
I'm stuck. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do. Just show me by means of symbology or images or whatever. And then I remember this was in Key West in Florida, cruise ship port. Really tough time, like really tough time. And the guy didn't even read it for me. He said, "You read it. You see what you get out of it." And I read it, and I was like, okay, this confirms my feelings. This confirms what I need to do. This confirms what I know I should do. And sometimes it just brings something out from the subconscious that's already within you. And because it's in material visual form, it's kind of like, okay, I
Helps.
trust. It helps. It confirms in a way. And also, there have been times where it's been utter bullshit. And there have been times where it's been very accurate. So it's finding that balance to know that don't just trust any random stuff and don't get lost and go woo-woo. But at the same time, there have been times where there's been alignment. So it has helped me develop this trust and belief in godness, in higher alignment and energy.
I think the part where people get confused is when what you were saying before about there's times where it's BS. I think people just they get lost in that. Oh no, this means that.
That's it.
In the same way, some people I seen recently people post on Instagram. Oh, this is so me during Mercury retrograde, and it's like, okay, so basically you're predetermining that every Mercury retrograde you're gonna be in shambles, like everything's gonna go upside down. So they believe in the thing, and then they're trapped in the limitations of those dates and those things, and it must happen, you know. But I think that in the past, I think there were certain things that which was more to do with numerology and destiny chart, birth readings and things. My dad buys the red book every year at the beginning of the year, just to make sure what's going to happen, what to be careful of and stuff. And so he used to read that once a year to the whole family to make sure we are all aligned and things like that, and be careful of this. And he used to, there was so many, and I used to, because I started business very early, literally, I don't know what it was, but every time he opened that book at the beginning of the year, I used to dread it after 3 years of listening to it, because he would come up to me and say, "This year's a really bad financial year for you." I'd be like, "Okay, yeah, be careful what you're doing." I'm like, "Okay, what now?" Yeah, you don't invest in anything, you'll probably lose it all. I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, so just work, try to save up as much money as you can, be careful." Like, and literally like 3 years in a row it would be the same reading, and I'm like, "Dad," and then I remember
me to save, don't you?
I remember the fourth year, I said to him, he says, "Oh, okay, sit down." And I'm like, "Dad," I said, "actually, you don't need it. It's probably going to be a bad financial year, but I think I know how to handle it now. So yeah, just leave it." Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so I kind of like left it after that, and I really started walking away from this stuff that way. One thing that, and this is, it was after Himalayas. I think all of these things, cards, numbers, birth charts, whatever, people said to me recently, I can't remember which country I was in. I think I was in Taiwan. Somebody said that they'll do the birth chart and reading for me and things like that. And I said, no, it's okay. It was after Himalayas where I entirely, totally just felt like no tarot card, angel reading, no nothing can serve me better than I can serve me.
Absolutely.
Well, what about the slightly confused times or something beyond my consciousness that I can't understand? So I have my master for that. I feel that is the strongest, because from master will not come the BS.
Yeah, for sure.
There will not be that part. There will not be the part of
superstition and
this is in the 5th month, this really bad is going to happen to you. Because it doesn't serve that person. It would be a different way in telling you, oh, in May, if you do this, that will help you. Not saying if you don't do this, this is what will happen to you. So it's different, because once, if a master was going to do that, then that's going to cripple you more than anything else, because you'll be dreading that thing happening. So instead, it'll give guidance without fueling your brain with the negative thought, so that you start manifesting it also. And I feel that has been, for me, I mean, I don't in physical form, I don't speak to Grandmaster so much, maybe once every couple of months or something like that. But when we are together, that's like the home button. Just like, it's very good. Very comforting.
And I find that what you've just explained regarding where you put your focus on how to avoid things, there's something that you I've heard you mention to people, I think we've spoke about it very briefly, when people talk about like blockages, or if you have, I don't know, traumas, I find it quite interesting in society, in human world, people will go to therapy, psychologists, and then all they end up doing is focusing on the problem. They find a problem, go deeper into that problem, and then you get lost in a rabbit hole. And then, for example, I've had friends back in France, they've been in hypnotherapy, psychotherapy for 3 years, and they just got worse. And so what I've noticed, the pattern in the practice here is don't focus on problem, don't focus on trauma. At times, challenges or commands or suggestions will be given that in doing this practice, it will clear the trauma, it will clear that stuck energy. And I find that's even regarding law of attraction, it's a very clear and clean way of seeing and practicing, because you're focusing on positive, on solution rather than problem. And therefore that's the energy you give, and you're very much more likely to bring back that and clear the energy.
It's I think it's not to say, because there will be some people who are therapists and things like that watching the show also. I think it's not to say that it's not that it doesn't work. There's benefits in how you go deep and how you pick out those roots, those weeds. I think the thing is all to do with the practitioner in their capability of going deep, pulling it out, and throwing it out. Or going deep, bringing it up, and not being able to fully clear it. And I think this is the difference between the two. So I think that it is still useful if they know how to go and do that. But I think that but not everybody. I mean, if people learn some certain things to do with psychology, people know how to go back in time and change your programming of your mind that way. That requires certain things to surface to get rid of. With energy healing, it's not required actually. So I don't need to bring it into your thought process.
Bring it to the forefront.
We can, by adjusting the energy, by clearing the energy, you don't even need to have took it to your mind to think about what the thing is, and the energies can be cleared. Through time, you will just notice that I don't have that reaction towards those things anymore. I don't know what it is, but something must have changed. But it's because that clearing was done. And this is one of the most profound things when we were up in mountains, that Grandmaster, when he passed this knowledge to me, was a lot of the time sitting in my master's presence. We would be just having dinner, and master will just be sitting there. And we'll think he's probably meditating, or he's probably doing a lot of things. But then knowing and then understanding that no, he is already scanning all the energy around, and he is already doing the work on clearing what needs to be cleared. Not for any exchange of money or anything, or for his contribution to the world. In every space that they are holding, then all the clearing is happening. And that is, I think it's much neater than needing to surface things from past up to their physical brain, which then, if it's not cleared correctly, they're carrying also.
Yeah, I see myself as a very clear example. Before I start my Zen practice, I was in a really nothing works out for me. I've been to fortune telling, in Taiwan, so you can do all the fortune telling. You go to temples, you ask for help, you do everything, and then it doesn't work, and you kind of give up on law of attraction. You give up on everything. You feel, I'm so confident. I feel I can do anything, but nothing happens to me. what happens. Like I'm defeated. I can't do it anymore. Like what's the point of life? And so like I don't know, like if anyone have that moment of feeling defeated, like totally defeated by life. And then I introduced to my practice, and then my practice is actually everything just similar to Grandmaster's teaching. Like it just focus. For us, we just meditate. It's meditation based. Through that, we just don't talk about anything else. We just meditate. I never be able to speak to my master like ever. But then through, I don't know how, it just kind of come into me. Like I start to understand what's the meaning of life. I start to understand what's the meaning of purpose. And then when my husband passed away, I still go to therapy, counseling, because I don't feel I'm competent. I'm capable enough to understand if I'm good or not. I may just feel like I'm good, but maybe I'm not. That's because that's how people stuck into depression, because actually initially they don't know they're they're having problem. So I just feel, okay, my husband passed away. I feel I'm fine, but maybe I'm not. So I still went to a counseling, and it's really good in UK. You have the facility. So I went, and in that counseling, the therapy, the 12 sessions, it really helped me to understand myself. Like I think most therapies, they're helping you to understand about yourself. It's not really about your problem. Because like you say, conditioning, we talk about conditioning. It's not problem if you don't see it is a problem. It just things. They just happened. They can be there to serve you. They can be there to defeat you, but they can be there to help you. It depends on which level you view. The same thing. You can see from this way. You can see from that way. You can see from that way, but they are the same thing. So the counseling, like Master say, if we are strong enough, and if we are blessed enough to have a master, someone to guide us, right? To even though we are lost, even we are in a not really positive place, but we still have a way we still can see the light. We can still can see the direction. And I think that's why people are so, even though we are talking about science, right? Not many people believe, but at the same time, people are actually deep down in their mind still looking for something. Because especially now, there's so much information around us. There's a law of attraction. There's numerology. There is Chinese fortune teller. There is tarot reading. Where you turn to, right? So, but I think in the end of the day, we, like Master just said, we need to know God is within us, and like you said, it's really interesting when you say you're doing the reading, but then he didn't read for you. You read for yourself. So actually how you interpret it. It may be totally different if it's mind reading it.
For sure.
So I think for the viewers, they are even, I always feel very grateful that I am conscious about this. We are conscious about all of this, about energy, about yoga, about alignment, about, because, or we are, at least we are trying to understand. So we are not as lost as before. And I just suddenly want to feel like, like, because it just happened to me. I feel like myself is example, like Master say, after you found your practice, you stop looking for everything else, because that's the answer for you. And I think that is really, we're really blessed.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Sometimes Nash comes out and says some really beautiful things.
Sometimes, only sometimes.
Only sometimes. I'm sorry.
Nico, have you replied those emails?
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful.
Okay.
Man, I'm curious. Like, do you have any, like, before you started working with Master, did you have any like religious background or spiritual background, or like did you grow up in a family with certain traditions or practices?
So growing up, I was brought up in a Buddhist
Nice.
tradition, just like a lot of Asian folks. It wasn't enforced from what I've seen other families practice, but in terms of like going to temples, giving offerings, and just giving offerings to your ancestors and doing your praise. There wasn't really sort of like a heavy sort of like enforcement onto sort of like me being a Buddhist. But I think over time, for me personally, it was more about discovery of a lot of different things. You know, when you go to school, you learn about different religion, you know. And then since coming here, you know, I've been able to learn not just about religion, but more about spirituality. You know, what's the difference between religion and spirituality? And understanding that, you know, there's always comes down to one thing, which is whenever we, for example, when it comes to a dire situation, when we have no idea who to go to, who do we go to? Who do we do our blessings? Who do we, you know, pray for help? You know? And I guess we all share that same common thing, where it's like, it doesn't matter what religion you believe in, there's always that one thing. For me, spirituality, doing yoga has really helped me connect myself with the universe. So I think in terms of like where I stand, meditation has helped me come closer to that and be able to connect with myself deeper. So I think that's why I am. Yeah.
So when you say meditation, obviously there's so many ways of meditation. You're talking about stillness and calming the mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's just, it's just really opening up my mind to different possibilities, and also being able to, I guess, being on that seeker's journey, just finding along aside masters, and then being able to learn from master, grandmaster, Rebecca as well. You know, it's helped me, you know, discover myself as well. So it's coming up. I'm enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah.
For sure.
I always tell my friends, scold me.
Scold you? You mean like?
Yeah, give me the apology.
Yeah.
It's fine. I love it. You know, help me to understand myself.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes because you don't know.
For sure. There's blind spots everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Wow. Thank you all so much for sharing your knowledge. I've definitely learned a lot. Guys, if any of you have learned at least something from what we've discussed today, then please let us know. Please do give it a like. And remember to subscribe as well. Hit the subscribe button and the notifications button. That's the little bell sign right here, by the way. And we shall see you on the next Creator Show. Ciao for now.
Namaste.
Namaste.
Namaste.